Here there's no raksha. Here there's mice.
'70th class of University X, the third to last for the eternal formation of University X. Original sacred geometry, you will never see nature the same way again. Shall we talk about the sunflower seed? The proportion in which the diameter of the spirals increases. From a sunflower seed, it is its golden ratio, or proportion. To give you an idea, the proportion in which the leaves of a tree decrease as it grows, climbs, is through the base. The proportion. Golden ratio. The population of bees also has a golden ratio of males to females. So, who decides? Equity is the balance of a hive of the bee population. Who decides? How does God decide? How is this decided? Because you know, civilizations have already shattered and disappeared from the universe. Tribes, ethnicities, exactly for not having proportion. You see that humans lose to bees. Wrong crossing. Remember that I taught you? We have their quantum crossing, mathematics, cold, knock, mystical interference. There's all of that. These are different things. People say it was luck, it was God. But then I asked you, what are the chances of a civilization remaining if it doesn't make the right choices? Because if the order of God there, the first contract, so that the tribes wouldn't get lost, that the tribe would marry within the tribe. And today it has created, because of this, we have all this lamentable tribalism. Tribes and civilizations have destroyed themselves because men don't know how to choose even their mating partners, nor the formation of their families. Did you know that? And how do bees continue since the beginning of the ages? Thanks to the so-called golden ratio. So write it down, golden ratio. The ratio of male to female within a beehive is thanks to the golden ratio established among them. Isn't it amazing? The ratio in which the radius of the interior of the shell grows, the mollusk's dwelling, it pumps gas into its shell, filled with chambers to regulate the depth of its flotation. And this is done through the golden ratio, because otherwise we would have incorrect flotation and the non-existence of the little creature. We wouldn't even have known snails and mollusks if it weren't for the golden ratio. Look at your hand. Does it have proportion? Golden. All this design here of the lines, the 3 lines of the hand of destiny. Golden ratio, the height of the human body and the measurement of the navel. Put your finger on your navel. Go ahead. To the ground, it's the same for everyone. I'm talking about proportion. The height of the skull. And the measurement from the jaw to the top of the head is the same proportionally. I'm talking about proportion. The measurement from the waist to the head and the size of the torso. The measurement of the shoulder, the fingertip, and the measurement of the elbow. The fingertip, the size of the fingers, and the measurement from the central fold to the tip. It's the same proportion. That makes us the same. We are so different, but we are the same in proportion, signed by the same proportion of God as your fingerprint. God's fingerprint is in sacred geometry. Livia. For the religious, a sacred book will always be the word of their God, right? For some religious people and most pagans, nature will be the word of God of their God. So, the religious person needs the Bible. The pagan or non-religious person sees God outside the Bible. Now let's see, both the sacred Bibles, according to their religious followers, have golden texts, which are golden texts, as do those who see God in nature. For those who see nature as the Word of God, we have the golden ratio, which is the golden proportion. The Bible has the golden ratio, and nature also has the golden ratio. You must remember the number pi. Who remembers? Circumference radius 3.14. But I'm not talking about pi now. I'm talking about phi. The number pi. In Greek, this letter is 1.6183399. This 1.61 is the golden ratio, which gives us the same pattern, the symmetry of God's fingerprint. So, that's why the Freemasons call it the great architect of the universe. And people have a problem with that expression, even though that expression is biblical. First of all, it is biblical. If we measure the length of our entire arm and divide it by the length up to the elbow, what do we get? 1.618. Amazing or not? If we measure the finger and divide its length by the length, from the start of the finger to twice the middle, we get 1.618. Even the size of a woman's uterus at her most fertile age, which is from 16 to 20, is phi, which is 1.6. The name is incredible.
It's explained because it's the architect of the universe.
Why is it the architect of the universe? Yet, there are agnostic and atheist people. And the most interesting thing is that it's the letter phi, Dr. Enrique, and the letter phi of philosophy. See, you say, oh, professor, golden ratio, golden ratio. Oh, professor, you talk about difficult things. Golden ratio, the letter phi, in Greek, which is phi for philosophy. It's another argument. When you talk about philosophy, if someone demonizes philosophy, you say, do you know what philosophy is? Ah, it's love of wisdom. But before it was philo, love. Even before the prefix philo, you remove the lo, and you're left with the letter phi. And phi is the ratio of all nature. Search something and observe how matter vibrates. A French physicist, who must have been a Mason for sure, found that perfect hexagons formed from hydrogen molecules with oil. He took a pot, water, added oil, tomato paste, put the microscope there, and guess what he saw? The microscope? Hexagons forming when you boil a simple tomato paste with oil in the water. Amazing, isn't it?
Amazing.
There are hexagons. Boil a liquid at your home and in your pot, and see hexagons, stars of David. Did you know that? Many times. It's complicated because the water will be hot. But if you have a microscope, boil the water, quickly put the hot water on the slide, and you'll see hexagons, the agitated water molecules. By the way, I've already revealed it to you, and it's in the folder. Downloads. For those who don't know, we have a computer. A computer that is shared with all of you in the cloud. To download on the portal x.tv.br documents that prove that Hebrew letters and other important alphabets were extracted from the hexagram. Did you know that? Oh no. I'm going to show this to you here. Here, you can see the portal. You go to downloads. Let me go back here because it didn't show up. Up there. Do you see downloads up here? In red? Downloads, then download X files. Then you go to books and X materials, the little folder. Here, you have so much stuff here. So we have a lot of sacred geometry stuff here. Physiognomy. And here, for example, When I made the song, my heart is a pyramid. I pump blood. There's a reason. Here, for example, the umbilical cord of the series Deus Electron, which is simply an electrical wiring with 3 pins. Right, very well signed. But here you will find a lot of things. You will find the origin of numbers. The angles. Everything is delta. Look at that. The origin of numbers. 1 angle, 2 angles, 3 angles. Why were numbers created? Like this? Because of the angles. Why is 0? Circular? Because it has no angle. The only way to express an image without an angle is 0. So 1 angle, 2 angles, 3 angles. Each angle, an angle, is also angel in the original. Remember? We taught all of this. The issue here, look. Of the symbols in all the temples. Where can you access all of this? There, at Portal X. And here, the origin of the Hebrew letters, which all came from the Star of David. All the Hebrew letters, all of them, came. It's here. This image represents very well that they all came from the Star of David. And even so, what are some people going to do? They will, uninformedly, judge the Star of David. There are even some non-churchgoers who call it the Star of the God Rianfano, which has nothing to do with it. There's no connection at all. But they love the Hebrew language. They go around saying Shalom, Adonai. They adore the Hebrew language. Oh, how beautiful, the whole psalm. Why is it the longest psalm in the Bible? Does it have 22 sections? Why does Psalm 119 have 22 sections? Because there is one for each Hebrew letter. So it starts with Aleph, Bet, Gimel. Each little section is a Hebrew letter. Oh, how beautiful. There are even people who speak in the angelic language of churches based on Hebrew. It's based a lot on R. A lot of R because of Hebrew. Everything is inspired by Hebrew. It's the Christian, child of a Catholic mother, grandchild of a Jewish grandmother, who always does the same things as the mother and grandmother. And this is inconsistent, because they like the Hebrew alphabet but demonize the Star of David. What's the point? Your Hebrew alphabet becomes the Star of David, isn't it?
Because they demonize so much and love Israel, and on Israel's own flag there's a hexagram.
And on the flag itself, there's a hexagram. Then they go and support Bolsonaro and Trump with the Israeli flag, and condemn the Aquio here because of the triangle. It's something that doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. How long did it take God, metaphorically, to make the world? In metaphor, it wasn't 7. It was 6 days. A hexagon of time. When we draw, those of us who aren't that good, right? Most of us, those who don't have much artistic talent for drawing. We limit ourselves to making a triangle, a circle, a square, right? That's the most we can do. Now, imagine if God were limited in his creation. You would look around and what would the world be? All Minecraft. All square, triangular, without the beauty of complexity, simplicity, the beauty of irregularity. And here, one of the most beautiful things I think about in life is what I'm going to reveal now. Why are plastic flowers less perfect than organic ones, yet they don't have irregularities? Why is a woman, even with flaws, more beautiful than a doll? Why do we sometimes find a model, a female model, a male model, so beautiful? Look at that beautiful thing, the perfection of that being, the skin and everything. But it's really about chemical attraction. To have a relationship, we will be with someone who has irregularities. Why? Because the artificial is so perfect that it doesn't attract, right? Why are plastic flowers less perfect than organic ones? Yet they don't have irregularities? Because the beauty, time for it, is exactly in the irregularities. Have you seen how painters who do abstract painting are respected? As if their works are extremely expensive. And why? Because the abstract is the ultimate. In New York, a guy took a banana, put it on the wall, and sold it for millions and millions of dollars. And the person who bought it even went and ate the banana. I don't know, something like that. Making the cookie. But God did more than that, right? God didn't just make a meaningless abstract without aletheia. He made a coherent abstract. Cohesive, organized, systemic, connected, interlinked, and meaningful, which is aletheia. So yesterday we talked about music first, second, and third. And there are people who stay there, playing the instrument. They will die that way first, second, and third. But if he evolves, he will go to the minors, he will go to the sixths, to the ninths, to the thirds. And he will evolve so much that there will come a time when he will play many chords in a short time. And in terms of geometric formation, of shaping things, can you imagine if everything were Minecraft? What is the beauty of the irregularity that we are addressing? It's beauty, created through fractals. So, we are going to start talking about the 7 geometric shapes through fractality. What is fractality? It's the pattern of creation of everything that exists in nature. Remember the kaleidoscope? Who knows the kaleidoscope? It's an example of that, isn't it? A kaleidoscope is actually a loop of an abstract image. Or it can even be a non-abstract image, but it has an infinite loop, a whirlpool in space, mirror upon mirror. In the delta realms, which are the plant, animal, and human, you see the divine architecture and design in fractals. In recent years, universities have started to call God intelligent design. And it became a trend to say, I don't believe in the God of churches, of my grandmother, of my mother, but I believe in intelligent design. In other words, someone who made the world is really good. This guy is good because the world has incredible signatures of intelligent design, which I can't say wasn't made by someone. Then it becomes a question of who made the world. I don't know. Beings from another planet, another dimension, another universe. Someone made it. Now one thing is certain, intelligent design. I mean, as bad as it may be, it made these new generations of young people start to think about it. I mean, they are university students having to admit that there is an architect behind all things. At least in this, we're doing well, right? Not everything is lost with the latest generations. Now, when I talk about kaleidoscope and fractality, I'm also talking about spirals. Have you seen how many spirals exist in Masonic architecture? In Catholic churches, in the Vatican? Why is that? The main libraries, museums, and churches in the world have spirals. Look at the spiral that forms the fingerprint on your fingers. Can you only see the fingerprint now? Look, what a fabulous spiral. Isn't it incredible? And they repeat. And it's the same pattern we have in the twist of DNA under the microscope. And it's the same pattern that forms a galaxy. And it's the same pattern for the rings of some trunks and some species of trees. Similarity of our fingerprint with the trees, the trunks. And it's the same pattern for some rocks. Solomon mentioned the white lily in the Song of Songs, and the lily is marked with 6 petals. The hexagram. There you see. There is also a lily that has 3 petals. So there's 3, there's 6, there's 9. What's interesting in nature? Nature follows 2 patterns. Or will it repeat itself? Signed in triangles 3, 6, 9, or it will be outside of 3, 6, 9, which we will get into shortly. Next, Fibonacci. But what is Fibonacci? Or what is fractality? It is the absence of 3, 6, 9. In a moment, I will reveal to you that when you take the 3, 6, 9, which signs everything in nature and remove, and within it, you will understand. Fibonacci and the fractal emerge. Will you understand? Soon in a moment. First, let me say that each atom, to remind you, has 7 layers. You saw this in the series. God and electron. Look at the fractality in the very atom that you don't see. Subatomic world. Let's talk about the moon. The moon goes through a set-a-day phase, waxing, full, waning, and new. Each phase is the 7 Sephiroth, which are the emanations of the Creator. The universe is made up of 7 cosmos. 7 are the sciences of men. Remember the trivium and quadrivium? 7 are the sciences of man. 7 colors and the white that unites them all. 7 metals. Did you know there are 7 metals? Look at this, folks. It's just too incredible, folks. There's no way not to believe in God. It's madness. You have lead, tin, iron, copper, mercury, silver, and gold. Think about it. There are 7 chakras, which are the vital points of our health. There are 7 stages of alchemy, the transformation of matter. There are 7 virtues of good in the Bible itself. Faith, hope, charity, fortitude, strength, right? Justice, prudence, and temperance. There are 7 negative virtues of the inferior delta. Pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony. Gluttony is poorly translated. In fact, it refers to a disorderly party, the kind of party where you do whatever you want and even break the law. And lust. To conclude, 7 negative virtues of evil. That is to say, for good, 7 positive virtues. For evil, 7 negative virtues. Because all of this comes Kabbalistically, meaning, what is Kabbalah? It is cosmological engineering, the engineering of the universe, how things are, how things work. There are also 7 seas. Look at this, folks. The Arctic, the Antarctic, the North, the South, Pacific, the Atlantic, the North of the South, and the Indian Ocean. I mean, think about it. If this isn't a signature, what are the chances? Coincidence that we have 7 seas? That we have 7 metals? What are the chances? Coincidence? I mean, when God established the limit of 7 seas, couldn't have. Imagine if we think about chance, if we think about agnosticism. I'm going to be agnostic. I'm not sure. I'm going to leave my faith open-ended. I'll leave it to be answered after death. Look at the danger of doing this to yourself, to your spirituality, to your faith, to your conscience. How can I do this if chance is better than the case itself? What kind of chance is it that comes and places 7 seas, 7 minds? 7 virtues of good, 7 virtues of evil, 7 parts of an embryo. Did you know? There are 7 parts of an embryo. When you transform, you disconnect your embryo. Head, thorax, abdomen, 2 arms, 2 legs. Is it a joke? When the tiny little being starts to form. 7. 7. The energy starts materializing. From Keter to Malchut. Kabbalistically, the little body, that small lump of flesh, starts gaining a head, thorax, abdomen, 2 arms and 2 legs. 7 parts of the human head, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 2 eyes, and the mouth. Your face, your visage. There are 7 parts, 7 main and vital organs, Dr. Enrique: brain, heart, genitals, lungs, liver, kidneys, and stomach. I'm talking about vital ones. 7 glands: pituitary, pineal, thyroid, thymus, pancreas, sexual, and adrenal. Here it must be right, isn't it? Correct that. Sexual, because together it's all right. In general observation, we have it this way. 7 glands. I mean, look, what are the chances of this? Everything coming from chance? Tell me. 7 divisions for the brain. Cerebellum, hypothalamus, medulla oblongata, corpus callosum, midbrain, spinal cord, and meninges. You'll find up to there I was looking here. To prepare the class, you'll see some experts saying there are 9. But when they say there are 9, they include the brain itself and include the white matter. In fact, there are 7. 7 pieces for the inner ear, 7 parts. 7 parts of the eyes, which is our webcam, our eye. Our webcam, cornea, iris, lens, vitreous body, sclera, conjunctiva, choroid, and macula. Isn't it amazing? Very impressive. For heaven's sake, people, the ear is divided into 7. The eye is divided into 7. The head is divided into 7. All calculated, you know. I'm not even talking about the 3 domes, that the mother's belly is 7 parts, the brain is 7 parts, the earth. From the earth's crust to the magma, 7 parts. From the crust to the stratosphere and the ionosphere, 7 parts, 7 layers. All 7 layers. 7 cavities of the heart. Where are the cardiologists? There, 7 layers of skin. Look at this. 7 bodily functions: breathing, circulation, assimilation, excretion, reproduction, sensation, reaction. Sometimes the synonym might change there, but there are 7 main bodily functions. I mean, if we were to unfold this here, we would spend hours and hours observing how everything is signed like this. It's impossible. There is no such thing as what they call an architect, universe, or intelligent design. We call it the creator, the absolute, the eternal. There's no way. Fibonacci sequence. What is the sequence? 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, 273. Is it signed or not? A lot. A lot, right? Then, they sent me here. 2 students sent me an animal that is a little being that is half plant, half animal kingdom, which is this little sheep here. It is half plant, and it is half animal. I mean, it's a mix. It's crazy. It is between the plant and animal kingdoms, proving what I have always taught you, which is evolution. What is the animal kingdom? It is the evolution of the plant kingdom. Isn't that right? That's right. So with these things, you start seeing, you start connecting the dots. Then you go into computing. In a moment, I'll show you that IBM, the Freemasons at IBM, Juarez worked at IBM. Then, the Freemasons at IBM in the 1950s studied the Fibonacci sequence and sacred geometry to advance in computing. Computing is based on the Fibonacci sequence and on fractal nature, which the matrix code is based on. And now, see that they just launched the chip that can process all internet traffic. It has just been launched, the JB200, signed NDL 72. I mean NDL 72. Why? Shall we understand what it is? I will. No, you will be horrified now, because tomorrow I will enter the class of, not tomorrow, in the next class you try, I will enter the binary pattern. What is the binary pattern? In the church, don't they say that the devil copies God? But who is the devil? The ego of man. So who copies God? Who imitates God? Man in the binary pattern. Why is it a pattern? Binary? Because it imitates the sequence of duality. Of duality, the dual cosmos. Now, this chip here, folks, I have to read this. The amount of computing we need is truly incredible. This is basically a giant chip. 72 GPUs are there. 72 144 tuned hexaflops. I mean, we have the hexaflops. We have the 72 144, which is twice 72. And what is this chip? 72 computers inside it. This chip, which they are launching now with 72 computers inside it. Do you want to see its sign, Noemi? Then you ask, where do I see God? Anywhere I look, God? Where do I see God? In nature or in computing? A couple in the Bible. In the Bible, in technology, or in nature?
It's Solomonic wisdom, the same recipe for success. Recipe for success.
So that's what sacred geometry is. Someone might think that sacred geometry is nature. The pattern of the universe? Man created computing. He will go there and put on glasses tomorrow or the day after. Then he will put on a lens. Then he will install a brain button. There are 3 phases. Starting now with glasses this year, 2025, reaching the lens by 2030, reaching the button by 2036 and beyond. When man enters these areas, listen well. You will have virtual cities, virtual countries that are spiritual, that are ethereal. And you will immerse in the metaverse. What is the metaverse? Universe, diverse, metaverse. Existence is divided into 3. Universe, diverse, and metaverse. What you will do is enter a world that doesn't exist, created by men. Man will play God, creating the virtual world. So let there be grass, let there be light, let there be lamps, whatever he wants to create. And that's what's coming. It's amazing, isn't it?
Very sensational.
Now, what is the sequence? Fibonacci? It's a sequential, divine pattern that I put here on purpose. ISO, right? ISO is the human standard that is in all nature. This sequence is in insects, plants, faces. For example, the number of seeds inside a sunflower will always be a number from this sequence. For example, I chose a sunflower and counted the seeds. There are 89 seeds. I chose another one. It has 144. I chose another, 233. But it will always be a number from the sequence. Fibonacci. Micro and macrocosmos, who here is spots on their skin. Did you know they are the same? Stars under the microscope? If you see them under the microscope, who has wrinkles or wrinkled skin. The skin that wrinkles is exactly the same as tree bark. The little veins, varicose veins, who has them? What you have is the same as lightning. The same pattern as lightning. Who here takes a rain shower or snow? The people who are enduring the snowstorm in Europe. The rain or snow, if you look under the microscope, are little stars of David. Each snowflake, each raindrop, even urine. Here in the mothership, we have the microscope. Is there anything more beautiful than what you see? It's sand. Each grain of sand has a unique shape, special and a special color. If you look from afar, it's all the same color. Under the microscope, they are all unique. Illuminate. Every wise person should have access to a microscope and a telescope somewhere, to be able to see things from the micro lens and the macro lens. If you can't buy one, you need to have access. You have to enjoy visiting. The city's microscope, the city's laboratory, take students there from time to time, make a school of Jesus there. There are places, there are cities that have telescopes. Free. Planetariums. Because in the micro and the macro are the signatures of God. Did you know that even pollen is a Star of David? With 6 holes? As if the honeycomb being hexagonal wasn't enough. As if the number of bees, male and female, being in the golden ratio of 1.6 wasn't enough. The pollen is also 6 because there are 6 holes. Isn't it incredible? The pollen, 6 holes, and not to mention the bee's head. Who remembers? I'm going to find the bee's head here. Here it is. The bee's head is a Masonic signature. Here, for those who think this is a Masonic thing, what came first, Freemasonry or the bee?
The bee.
Look at that. Look at the Masonic signature on the bee's head. Look at that. 3 little dots. Do you see? Is it signed or not? So all of this, I ask you, do the churches teach or not? And then people become ignorant. Oh, God is powerful. God is powerful. How much, my child? Sound, verse, such and such, proverb, such and such. You'll spend your whole life. It's written, Ecclesiastes. And most of these religious people, they have a country house. They go to a country house. They spend the weekend at a country house. And what greatness of God, drinking chimareo, listening to birds, look at the greatness of God. But they never really went there to see God's signature there. In the micro and the macro, never looked, never. Never beyond the bird's song. Sacred geometry is much older than the Bible, long before Judaism, long before Moses, long before 1500 BC, before Abraham. Who saw it first? All the biblical characters of the Word of God or the sacred geometry?
The sacred geometry.
You know that. I want you to write exactly what I'm going to say on paper and in the chat. Shall we go? Reveal. Write down 3 Bibles. Write 3 Bibles. I'm going to write here. Look, 3 Bibles. The Bible you know, which today is paper, is going digital. From digital, it's going to hologram, which is the last phase, and not even hologram, because the final phase is cerebral immersion. The telepathic Bible. Before paper, parchment, and papyrus. Before papyrus, clay, and stone. That is the Bible. Before that, there is the second Bible, which is the Bible of conscience that Paul mentioned in Romans. That even before a Bible existed, when Moses wrote in 1500 BCE, there was the Bible of conscience. From Adam to Moses, people were judged by a paper Bible and by the Bible of conscience. But there is a third Bible, which is the Bible of sacred geometry. Just to give you an idea of the importance of lessons 69, 70, and 71 at the university. What I am presenting to you, in fact, Winston, Altair, William. Listen, all of you here, I am presenting to you Jacqueline, Angelo, Amanda, Ivanildo, Zenube, Alex. What am I presenting? The primordial Bible. Sacred geometry. Ah, how beautiful. Sacred geometry is a Bible primordial. Because what came first? The paper Bible or consciousness? And what came before? Consciousness or nature? Nature. The oldest of all Bibles is sacred geometry. After sacred geometry comes consciousness, and after consciousness comes the Bible you hold in your hand. That's why believers are so behind, because they only know the Word of God on paper. Long before the Word of God on paper, there's the Bible of consciousness, and long before consciousness, there's the Bible of nature, my child. There are 3 Bibles for you to know, which is super sacred, super sacred. So we have what we call self-similarity. Let's now get to know self-similarity. It is symmetry across scales, which I call layers. In other words, an object has self-similarity if it presents the same form and presents the same form of self-similarity, and presents the same form at any scale at which it is observed. The Mason, who studied all this in the 1950s, was a mathematical scientist at IBM, connecting the advancement of computers to the way God made nature. Look at this. Mathematically, the property of self-similarity is described by transformations whose images of the objects are reduced copies of the same. Now, you will start to understand what fractality is. And what is a sequence, Fibonacci? Today, I will show you what that is. Let's go. Images of objects, which are reduced copies of the same. Can you write this? Reduced copies of the same. What do you mean? You will understand soon. Such transformations are called similar transformations. And that's where a signature of God comes in with the Masons, which is the Sierpinski carpet, which is the Sierpinski triangle, from where all the understanding of sacred geometry originated. So, these wonderful fractals that you can look up anywhere on Google. Here, there isn't any, this is infinite. It won't stop anymore. Here is the snowflake I mentioned. All kinds here. Spiral, snail. All kinds. It doesn't stop. Here we could stay. Our entire lives. The rest of our lives here, observing this, until we get to this here that is here. I just found it. Toss the peaky aces, toss the peaky aces, toss the peaky aces, toss the peaky aces. What are triangles? It's the Sierpinski Mason. Shall we understand? Ready? Let's go. We have here. I ask you, how many similar copies of the figure do we have there in letter A? So look, it's a triangle. And we will consider that the white color is absence. So orange is presence and white is absence. What is in white there? We remove from the image. You can have spatial geometry, which I don't know if you know, but to play snooker well, you need to have spatial geometry. Spatial geometry is a mental skill to anticipate events, to predict, to foresee. I see it before it happens and finishes. I desire fulfillment, I desire. I am already seeing it happen. So I align my body and say, when I do this, this will happen. Visualization, right? Visualization, spatial geometry. Spatial geometry. The first time I encountered spatial geometry was in the Air Force, when I was selected for the military. Now women can serve, right? There are more than 7,000 women who have enlisted for the first time. But when I went to serve in the military, they called me for the Air Force. Then I took a test there, and the test was on spatial geometry to be able to enter the Air Force. Spatial geometry. What is that? It's something you need to develop. A fascinating skill of the mind. That's what makes us, Gideons, visionaries. Come on, understand. Can you, at this very moment, see the orange image without the white? What I'm asking you is, see the new shape of the triangle that emerged by removing the white triangle from inside the orange triangle. Can you see what the image would be? Could you just take your eyes off the screen and draw on paper the image, the new image that would emerge by removing the triangle? Removing the white triangle, what's left? 3 triangles, orange, is an A. Then you see here, what if we had 3 more white triangles? And notice that we are respecting the symmetry. 9 triangles, orange, perfect. But notice that we are respecting the symmetry. We are not creating triangles all over the place. Nature respects the cosmological pattern. So, we are placing a triangle within the triangle itself. That's why I said it's an image of the image itself. It keeps fractalizing. And thus, complex, geometric shapes emerge, like in the music of Menuda's Maestro Julio. Complex, mathematical, geometric shapes, beyond the traditional ones we know. So, we stop at the 7 geometric shapes and spend our whole lives in that involution of circle, square, and Minecraft. But in reality, when you keep doing this here, image over image, image over image, image over image, what are you building? An infinity of images within symmetry, within the golden ratio. Do you understand this? So, you are having this here, then we will reach this level here. Look at this. What do we have here? Now, I want to see you look at this image, take your eyes off the screen, and reproduce it on paper. I'm telling you to reproduce only the orange part. Can you do it? Because the white is absent. But if you could look now, the orange, focus your mind there. 1, 2, 3. Focus on the orange, forget the white. And can you perceive that we are starting to fractalize? Do you notice that fractals are starting to appear in our eyes? But all starting from a triangle? Yes, all in delta. So look, if we do this with a square, same thing, look at this, which is the QR code, right? Look at that. Looks like a computer chip, doesn't it? What does this triangle, this happens do? So we have 3 transformations. This translated into a formula. Look at this complex formula. Look at the formula. And if we reach this level here, look. This one. Is it fractalizing or not? Look at the level of the fractal. And if I add more and more, soon I'm already reaching the shape of a leaf. Did you understand? Did you notice? Because you might ask, where does the beauty of the nature of things come from? In fact, they are evolved geometric shapes, copy from themselves. It's it over itself. It's it within itself. Copy of a copy. This is a dry leaf. You might say, how is this leaf related to a triangle? If there's a triangle everywhere, I can't see any triangle. But in reality, everything is the basis. Everything is the base of delta. It's incredible. The mirror, Professor. Mirror. So there you go. There it goes here. Look. Becoming infinite. Until it reaches this level here. Look. Look at that. See? Now, do you start or not start to see snowflakes? Do you start? Then you say, but why did I see that snowflake? I even took a picture, sent it to the Lucas and Alex show. But I can't see what the relation is between this and the triangle. Look at that. Actually, it's a triangle that had several, thousands and thousands of triangles taken from it, which turned into that fractalized image. The fractalized image is a triangle broken down into thousands, or hundreds of thousands, or millions of triangles. It's incredible, isn't it? Fascinating, isn't it? So, to our limited eyes, we haven't reached Lucio yet. We haven't reached the Lucio movie. Our imitated eyes. Sometimes you say, Professor Ark is talking so much. Professor Ark talks, and triangle here, triangle there, delta here. You can't see it. You have to delve deeper. You have to delve deeper, right? Let's go more on. Sierpinski carpet. Look, now we start to have. I'm even going to shrink my image here to ask you what we have on the screen. The first image there, what do you think they are? Neural synapses, then lightning. Cardiological system. Neurons, ice. Here we have the placenta. Then we have there a satellite photo of Earth. Tree roots. The sea, all interconnected in the same pattern. Do you see? Then we could also arrive at this image, which is fascinating. Look at the similarity there is between us without the body and a lightning bolt. Look how beautiful we are without the flesh.
Yeah, man, it's really beautiful.
We are a full lightning bolt.
Quality, that's what it should be, right?
And here we will have the placenta, the tree of life sign, right? And here we have the lung and the tree. And what's the connection between the tree and the lung? All of them, right? All of them. All of them. The bronchus. Tree and bronchus. And here, the heart, look. Just the connection part, right, doctor? And here, neurons. Brain. Look at this wonder here. Look. Our brain all sliced up. What's the difference between the galaxy and our brain synapses?
None.
Or the neurons?
Very similar.
Look at the beauty of sunflower seeds. Then you say, what does this have to do with a delta, a cube? It's that, to get to this image, you took thousands and thousands of basic geometric shapes to arrive at this type of kaleidoscope. From nature. Look, just this beauty here of the plant. Aloe, polyphylla. And what about the pine cone? Just look at the kaleidoscope of it. Pine cone.
Yeah, the pine cone is really good.
The pine cone. Here we have the mosaic plant. Romanesco. Broccoli. This broccoli here, one day we have to get it, huh, learner? One day, we have to get this broccoli here to make a salad. Is it in Italy? Everything is Italy, right? Everything good comes from Italy, right? It had to be, right?
Italy has everything.
Here, the peacock. We have here, at the entrance of the mothership I bought. You saw it, right? At the entrance of the mothership, there are peacock feathers, which are gorgeous. Now, see what the sacred geometry of the peacock feather is. Look at this. Now, I ask you, are we prepared or not for the binary pattern? Because when we get to 71, we will see human architecture. Isn't human architecture based on this here? An architect just needs to look at a peacock's wing to design the entrance of a building. Look then, can this be used to design a soccer stadium or not?
Futuristic.
Then you say, but my God, the peacock has 6,000 years of humanity. And look, if someone bases themselves on the peacock and creates an architecture with this proportion, it will be futuristic, as Raimundo said. Just plagiarize everything. Just copy gone. Just copy gone. Here's the hurricane. Look at this. Already in the macro aspect. The galaxy in the same spiral of the macro aspect.
I will explain what I use better than what the world uses, right? The inspiration.
Here, the metallic spheres, working with magnetism. Here a test was done with a nanographene molecule. And look here at the wonderful signature of the snowflakes. Look at this.
Wow.
See? The hexagonal honeycomb. Look at the pattern of the flowers. Then you say, how do you get to this design? There, because first there is the basic design. Basic. See that, around it there is a circle, around it there is a triangle. Everything starts with simple geometric shapes. Then, to fractalize, you have to do what I taught you. Here we have about. There are 7 rings of Saturn, also marked. And on top of Saturn's head is a kippa, a hexagon. It's a kippa on its head, of the planet Saturn. You know they say there are 9 planets. Then they argued, remove one, it was 8 planets, 7 planets, 9 planets. But actually, astrologically, there are 7 too. I didn't even mention it, but there are 7. Isn't that wonderful, folks? If we are to talk here, then, for example, about resonance in water. Shall we talk about resonance in water? Look at the resonance in water, what it does. According to the frequency spirals of how much it agitates the water molecules, we have different images, different colors, like different galaxies. Is that it? What a beautiful thing. What do you think you will see right after you die? The series Angels of Death. Has anyone here ever have closed their eyes? Lie down one day on your back. Look at the ceiling of your room, your living room, and half close your eyes. Don't close them completely, almost close them. Do that one day. You will start to see all these images that are on your screen there, coming over you. Look at that wonder. This here is the representation of the internet map. Look at that. Even the world's internet connections result in this wonderful display of fractals.
This is a galaxy wonder. Like.
And here, the science network map. Incredible, right? It's very good. All of this is beautiful. And unfortunately, what do the churches do? They separate science from faith. They even create a divide, placing science and faith as enemies,
They demonize it, right?
when, in fact, science shouldn't doubt faith, it should confirm faith. In the next class, 71, you will see the binary pattern of man imitating God in sacred geometry. And there is sacred geometry in animals and fruits. Who remembers? Each color of fruit, each shape of fruit, is God saying something to you. In animals too, isn't that right?
Certainly.
How wonderful. And so we prepare for the last class and our university education. What a journey it has been. What a blessed and wise journey this University X is. To go through the entire Old Testament, the entire New Testament, all the extra biblical texts, science, quantum physics, duality, ufology, and still finish with the most difficult subject. Is that right?
That's right.
What a thing? Good. So we conclude here by inviting you for this weekend.
There. Hurry. And sign up now.
"1260 missions of the sent emissaries." Because Paveo is saying the following when the Lamb unsealed. Here there is no rapture. Here there is Mars.